Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Wednesday, September 28th, and here I am to talk about the finale of Big Brother. This is my third try, by the way. As I said yesterday, I recorded Monday, and I got sidetracked, as happens with me, went down a rabbit hole and was like, yeah, no, and I'll record it tomorrow. And then I recorded it yesterday, except for it didn't record, and I posted it, and someone was kind enough to tweet at me that it was blank, 21 minutes worth of blank me, and so I deleted that quickly, recorded a very quick apology little message, which someone was kind enough to point out to me that I sounded like I didn't feel well. I was being very quiet because I was recording in my office, so I may have sounded a bit maybe under the weather. I was fine, and posted that, and then today, here I am. So, let's talk about the last 4 days of the last 3 days of Big Brother, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and in as brief as we can do it, as I can wrap it up. So, yeah, we'll go back to Friday. Well, the last time I talked to you was Friday morning. So Friday after I talked to you, I'm just talking for this for people that I assume have not even seen the finale. There are a few of you who are just going by me telling you what happened. So you don't even. I believe there's actually a few of you who don't even know yet who won. So we'll pretend that all of you don't know who won, and those of you that did can play along and see if I tell it well. Friday morning in the Big Brother house, the house guests woke up and they actually did the part 2 of the head of household competition. That morning it was Monty versus Taylor, because Turner had won part 1, so part 2 was Monty versus Taylor. It was a mental / physical competition where they had to swing across a little abyss and line up all the days or the order of the head of household and power veto competitions on 2 different walls. And in the end, as it turned out, Monty beat Taylor by about 24 seconds, somewhere in that range. So it was fairly close. Taylor was just over 7 minutes. Monty was under 7 minutes. And so Monty won part 2, which meant that Turner and Monty would face off in part 3 live on Sunday night. So what happened between Friday morning and Sunday night? Well, Taylor actually helped both of them study. Turner had a conversation with Monty, which we saw in the feeds Friday morning, where Turner said, "Dude, I'm with you all the way. No matter what now, we should be good. Either of us will go we'll take each other to the final, the final 2." And Turner was like, "Yeah," or Taylor or Monty was like, "Yeah, we're good." All that, although he didn't sound quite as, to us, positive from Monty, and we all were kind of wondering about it at this point. And later on, Monty talked to Taylor, and he seemed to talk to Taylor like, "I'm taking you if I can. I'm working to take you. I will take you," and all that. So Taylor knew that she didn't have much of a shot with Turner. She and Turner had exchanged words where they kind of joked about how they weren't very close. And so the assumption was that Turner would indeed take Monty, and very possibly that Monty might take Taylor, depending on who won part 3. All right, so we get to Sunday night, part 3. It is a quiz. It is a 2 truths and a lie kind of a thing, where each house guest told 2 truths and one lie or one falsehood, and they had to guess the falsehood. 8 questions, and in the end, it was fairly close. Going into the last question, Monty had 7 right, Turner had 6 right, so Monty had to miss the last one, and Turner needed to get it right in order for it to be a tie, to have a tiebreaker. And as it turned out, Monty got it right, Turner got it wrong. No tie. Monty won 8-6. And so Monty is the final head of household. Monty then makes his move, says, and this is something he had already told Taylor that he was going to do. He said, I don't have a big signature move yet, so my big signature move will be to evict you, Turner. And of course, Turner was not expecting it. Turner was evicted. Turner handled it very well. He was, hugs and all around, and it was not he went out graciously. Meanwhile, those of us that knew that, and we'd already seen in the jury roundtable that Michael had pointed out that Monty was the one who got rid of him, not Turner. And so Monty already did have a big signature move. By the way, by this point, we'd seen the jury roundtable. We'd heard about the jury roundtable. We'd heard it was fairly adversarial. It really didn't appear that way in the edit that we saw. And as it turns out, what we didn't know was at the jury roundtable, and we found this out from Turner, was apparently that at the jury roundtable, they kind of decided, who they would kind of vote to win ahead of it. At least if one certain person made the finale, that person was going to win Big Brother. No matter what. Sounds like no matter what the arguments were, they'd already decided, well, if this person manages to make the finals, that's the person that's going to win the Big Brother. Again, we didn't know that. That was certainly not shown in the edit, but that is what Turner passed on based on, I guess, his conversations after the show. So the jury, I'm not going to tell the order, this isn't going to be perfect. So the jury roundtable, they actually, Turner's evicted. We saw Brittany join the jury roundtable, by the way, as well. Turner joins the jury. They have the non-jury come out they were all in the backyard, by the way. They staged all the contestants in the backyard. Julie stayed on the stage, except for when Turner came out. When he was evicted, he walked out on the main stage, talked to Julie, but then he joined the rest of the house guests in the backyard. It didn't look like the backyard. I got a little bit of a hiccup there. It looked like a set-up stage, so it took a while to figure out. I was like, wait a minute, I think I just heard a plane. I think they're in the backyard, and sure enough, they were, which was done very well. It looked like a huge stage. So, they have the jury. Turner comes out to sit with the rest of the jury. Then they have Monty and Taylor answer questions. I've said it. See, remember, this is the third time I'm doing this, so I feel like I've already said this before, and I realize that you've not heard it from me before. But I'm going to say it anyways. I was not a fan of the questions and answers. Yes, they've done it this way for years, okay, first of all, but understand that the jury questions were very staged. It's like, oh, here's the questions you can ask, and submit your questions, and it just felt staged. It didn't feel legit. Taylor, and this isn't a knock on Taylor, but she's a trained professional at answering questions, and she's an excellent speaker. She knows how to say the right thing. So in this case, she did great in saying the right things, but the questions were also, in my opinion, asked, they were softball questions. They were easy questions for all of them. So it just didn't feel like, very hard-hitting and all that. So the Q&A was whatever it was. I was hardly paying attention. I had already got a sense of where I thought things were going at this point. And so they did the Q&A. Did Julie talk to the jury then? I don't remember. I don't even remember the conversations with the jury off to the side conversations. But they did their final pleas. Monty's final plea, I didn't think it was a bad final plea. He was like, look, if you want to vote for the person who won the most competitions, of the two of us here that did this, then I'm the person you should be voting for. And then Taylor's her final plea was very much a social final plea. of I didn't, you don't have to win competitions. I faced racism. I was nominated 5 or 6 times. I had to fight my way off, and all that kind of stuff. Very much a social or an underdog story. I lasted this long. You need to reward me with the win. This is your opportunity to change the way Big Brother is. I don't know if it's the way it's played or the way it happens or whatever, and et cetera, et cetera. And I will say this: the vast majority of the Twitter timeline that I have, and the vast majority of a lot of people online, where they love Taylor's whole story, and they have for months at this point. And so the fact that she was sitting in the final 2 was like a coronation. Like, well, she's here. She made it here. We've been saying all along, if she can make it here, she should win. And that is kind of what I thought the jury had decided. And the way they asked the questions, and when they did the voting, and just the entire thing, it just felt like, all right, this is happening. It seems to be happening. And sure enough, let's cut to the chase here. In the end, Julie revealed the votes, and the thing was, apparently, side note, Turner walked out, I guess, and again, this is things Turner said at the fact. He said, what's going on? How are we voting? And no one really would tell him. He didn't want to be on the losing side of the vote. He wanted to vote with the majority, and no one gave him a clue. And he voted for Turner, or for Monty, and he was the only vote for Monty. Monty lost 8-1. Taylor won 8-1. Turner would have voted for Taylor had he known everyone else was. And as I said, it sounds like the jury decided they were all voting for Taylor if she made the finals. So everybody voted for Taylor, even people that we thought would, like Terrence thought for sure Terrence would vote for Monty. So it just became, because he never ever took Taylor's side. Terrence was wanting to keep Kyle over Taylor. He was always about, he was not a Taylor cheerleader, and so it was obviously became a groundswell of we're voting for Taylor to win if she makes the finals. So Taylor won 8-1. She also won America's Favorite, which is the first time that has ever happened. We've always been told that the person that it was not excluded, the winner was not excluded from winning it, but the winner had never won America's Favorite. Well, she did this time around. So, confetti went off. Taylor joined everybody on the backstage, or in the backyard stage, and everyone was happy. I personally, I didn't think Taylor deserved to win. Not that everybody else did a great job. Taylor was not my choice to win. I really thought between Taylor and Monty that Monty had the better game, as it were. And the answer to that from people would be that it wasn't about the gameplay. It wasn't about the competitions. It was about other things. And Taylor did those other things apparently well. But again, I go with Taylor wasn't. And now, granted, I know she didn't have the opportunity to be in an alliance, but that was choices she made at the beginning of the game when she decided to try to align herself with the guys and excluded herself from the women. All of that. These are things I've said before. I said it back then. She needed to start playing Big Brother, and I really still never saw her playing Big Brother per se. I still felt like she was kind of riding along with the waves, which some people would say is a strategy in itself. So, that's where we land on all of this. In the end, it's fine. I did some analysis of. I don't know if I had done this before on Friday, but I definitely did it on. I showed some of it over the weekend where I did a couple of different charts where I showed all the different winners of Big Brother, all the different final threes, how they worked out. This win by Taylor broke the weird oddball chain. Started with June, where it was like one woman won, then a man, then a woman, then 4 men, then one woman won, then a man, then a woman, then 3 men had won. So in theory, to keep the cycle up, a 4th man would have won on Sunday, but as it turned out, Taylor won. So that little weird pattern is broken. Some people thought that Taylor was the first person in the house. No, Taylor was not the first person in the house. She was the first person of her group in the house because Michael held the door open, but Michael was in the second or third group. So Taylor was like the fifth or eighth person or ninth person in the house. She was not the first. Kyle was the first person in the house. So that record did not get broken. But Monty was the fourth person in the house, and the fourth person has never won either. So actually that record didn't get, or that streak did not get changed. There's two different places that have never won. Three, I think, if you include the 17th person in the house, but that's only happened a couple of times. So those are weird little stats. Taylor became the second person ever to win after not winning either part 1 or part 2 of the final Head of Household competition. Going back, Maggie was the last one to do that. Other people who have won very few overall competitions and have won the game. Dr. Will Kirby, won 0 competitions. Now, remember, there was only a total of 9 competitions. I'm talking about Head of Household and Power of Veto. Power of Veto didn't exist, and they only had 9 Head of Household competitions on season 2. So, there was very few competitions to win. He did win one of the parts of the Head of Household competition, but he did not win any overall competitions. So he won 0 and won Big Brother. Maggie won 2. Oh, now I can't remember if June won 2 as well. It may have been that. And then several people won just 3. Derek from Big Brother 16 was one of those that only won 3. But by the time you're getting into Derek's stage, there's like 27 or 28 competitions. So there was a lot more competitions for those people that only won 3. Percentage-wise, I actually did this. I took the total number of competitions, and I divided the number that each person had won by the total number of competitions to come up with a percent won. And Taylor, other than again Will Kirby, who would have a percent of 0 since he won 0, the next lowest percent won of competitions of the Big Brother winners was Taylor at 7.8% or something. Derek was the next lowest at 8 point something because he won. There was more competitions his season, and so because he won 3. He won like 3 out of 28, and Taylor won 2 out of 27 percentage. And that's not exactly right, but whatever the numbers were, for the stats people, I've already tweeted these. Most of you have seen them. It's kind of interesting. It's on my Twitter timeline if you want to see it. But stats are whatever they are. You can find stats to win any argument, to show anything. But in this case, to me, it's like, all right, well, Taylor definitely shows a social side. She managed to win the game without winning a lot of competitions. What else? Afterwards, now I have a little bit of extra time now since there have been a few more appearances. They actually, most of them went to Todrick's again this year for a post Big Brother party, which kind of threw some people that Todrick was still relevant. He's still relevant, apparently still living in the same house that he was $60,000 behind on the rent at one point. So apparently he's doing okay. Todrick's all right, everybody. What else? Taylor went on The View, and she talked with them. They made various different appearances on different venues. On The View, I did not see this. This is just what was reported by Reality Barbecue. She apparently was asked about Monty, and this is the quote that Reality Barbecue had posted. Said, Monty was very good at what he did, but we're going to leave that in the house. Now, you can take that for what you want, read into it or not read into it. I chose to read into it and go like, whoa. Well, that little showmance is over. And while Taylor did praise Monty for what he did, she was done with him. And so there's all kinds of speculations. I think maybe Taylor and Joseph went to Disneyland with maybe Chada. I don't know. There was pictures. I don't follow them on Instagram or anything, but a few of these pictures crept onto my timeline. So, they're out doing stuff, but this is definitely, I'm, kind of out of the Big Brother world when it comes to this stuff. I added them Turner has an official Twitter account, along with others. I've got 10 of the 16 house guests that I found Twitter accounts for. A couple others we have that are old from long before they were on Big Brother, when they were much younger. Actually, Monty's is one of the ones that I have listed as his Twitter account, and he hasn't used that for 7 or 8 years. Jasmine and Alyssa's all seem very old. I haven't added Jasmine's and Alyssa's. I may yet still, but we'll see if they show up on social media. They are on other social medias. I only use this in the Twitterverse. I have a Instagram account. I never use it. So I don't have, I'm not gonna go out on Instagram, and I'm not gonna keep track of all this. But on Twitter, I always make a list of the Twitter accounts for each season, and then I have an overall USA list that I add everybody to. So if you want, you can go into Twitter lists and you can find that. If you want to follow a list, sometimes it's easier just to follow a list, and you can look at a particular, season of house guests to see what they're talking about on social media. So that's out there. What else? I'm thinking here. Sorry, now I'm in heavy traffic. Let me think. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about, and now I can't remember what it was. So at that point we go, oh, I know, hurricanes. So there are some of you, specifically some of my patrons I know are in Florida and to the south. I hope you are all doing okay. We have family in Florida, and so in the Sarasota area actually, and so we are all very concerned about everybody down there. Keeping you in our thoughts. I thought about this and I almost tweeted it, and then I decided not to. But Alyssa is actually from the Sarasota area, and I'm kind of surprised that I haven't seen some people freaking out on the timelines, worried about Alyssa's family and everything. But, Alyssa wasn't super popular with a lot of people, so maybe that's why. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. So I almost tweeted out, hope Alyssa's family is okay in the Sarasota area. And then I realized that there would be some snarky people that would make some comments, and so I decided just to let it go. But I'll share it here with you guys on the podcast, just to know, oh, don't forget about that. Anyways, hope everyone is well. Of course, everybody across all of the world is dealing with all kinds of issues. And so everybody has bad days. It's not just the days that a hurricane happens to hit your area. So, yeah, it is what it is. I hope everyone is doing okay. Thank you for listening. I will probably do another one of these in a few days with a few more thoughts. I want to give shout-outs to my patrons again before all is said and done. And then we'll figure out what I'm going to do going forward, whether I continue to do a very occasional Big Brother Gossip podcast, or if I do a non-Big Brother podcast, which I do occasionally. Those of you that follow that, by the way, the picture of my non-Big Brother podcast is taken from Sanibel Island in the Sarasota area. So there is that. All right. That's a sunset picture, by the way. So there you go. I'm wrapping it up because I'm pulling into my parking garage. And I hope you're all well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. That is a motorcycle park there. I cannot park where a motorcycle parks. So, make a sharp detour. Be well. Have a good Wednesday. And I will talk to you all soon. And thank you. Hopefully this one works. All right? We'll see you later, everybody. Be well. Bye-bye.